Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of UFC Casuals. I'm Bobby with my co-host Andrew, and we have quite the break in between our next pay-per-view. Not something we've had a lot of this year. So today we're just going to be looking at the upcoming fight nights and previewing them, giving our predictions. And yeah, so let's get straight into the big fight this weekend. Max Holloway, Arnold Allen, a featherweight fight, number 2 versus number 4 in that division. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, number 2 versus number 4, but there is a title fight already scheduled for, this summer, right? So you got to think a top 5 matchup like this. Well, it could be a number 1 contender fight, but Max Holloway has already lost a trilogy to the champion. So, not really a number 1 title fight, number 1 contender fight for him. It's more just like a pride thing, maybe.
Yeah, I don't see how he gets a path back to a title shot, assuming Volk's still the champ. 3 losses against him I just don't see that happening. It doesn't seem likely. But if Allen were to win this fight, I think he's definitely in line to get a title shot after Yair.
Huge opportunity for Arnold Allen this weekend. The guy's on a 12-fight win streak. He's been a little inactive. He hasn't really fought any top guys. He beat Calvin Kattar, by a freak knee injury. So, take for that what you will. He doesn't have any big wins, and this is his opportunity to get, the highlight win outside of Volkanovski in the featherweight division. If you beat Max Holloway, you're ready to be the champ, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think that would be the last step before that title shot for him. And yeah, a lot of big win streak for him. For Holloway, this is his first fight since the loss to Volk, the trilogy loss. So he's coming off a loss. Allen's coming off a big win streak. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. How do you have this fight going?
Yeah, Max Holloway, like you mentioned, is coming off a bad loss. The first 2 fights between him and Alexander Volkanovski were so close. And then you go into the trilogy thinking, hey, it's going to be another close war like they've had the other 2 times. And then Volkanovski dominates him. So, how is that going to damage the psyche of Max? I don't know. But with that being said, Arnold Allen, he hasn't fought the top competition that I would like him to be prepared for a Max Holloway. And Max Holloway doesn't get finishes, so I'm not going to predict a finish, but I think he wins a 5-round war. It's going to be a stand and bang battle, and he is, quote unquote, the best boxer in the UFC. So let's see it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think Holloway wins by decision. Like you said, he doesn't get a lot of finishes. He's not known for his knockout power, but he's a fantastic boxer. And I think this might be too big of a fight for Allen right now, although I think he has a chance to work his way up to that title shot eventually. I think Holloway wins this fight, though.
Yeah, me too.
Moving on, we have the co-main event, another fight at featherweight. You have Edson Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. What do you make of this one?
When you talk about wars, I always talk about wars. I want to see wars, striking battles. It doesn't get better than this. Edson Barboza, has the nastiest kicks in UFC history, maybe. The spinning kicks, the body kicks, the leg kicks. Outside of Justin Gaethje, there's not a harder leg kick in the UFC. And for a 145er, that's crazy. The speed, the power. And Billy Quarantillo, he's not that young actually, but he's a prospect compared to an Edson Barboza, right? He's 4 years younger only, but he's been in the UFC much less time. He's a banger himself. He's a brawler. He's going to go out there and he's going to want to knock out a Barboza who's coming off some losses here.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting fight. I'm looking forward to this one. Barboza, like you said, crazy kicks. And then Quarantillo, he's a very entertaining fighter. Barboza's on the older side now, though. He's getting up there in age. He's lost some of his recent fights. So for that reason, I have Quarantillo winning this fight. I have him winning by round 2 knockout. What do you have this fight going?
Yeah, Billy Quarantillo has hands, and he's going to come out there and he's going to try and knock out the older men, like you mentioned. Barboza is getting on the older side. He's coming off some bad losses here, back-to-back losses, I believe, and he's fought the top guys, right? There's no shame in losing these big fights for Edson Barboza. He's still skilled, but I would like to see the younger guy, the less experienced guy in the UFC get a win here. I'm going to go Billy Q. I think he knocks him out too in the 3rd round. And maybe we'll have some new blood here at featherweight.
Maybe. Moving on, we have our next fight night card. This one in the Apex. Sergei Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes headlining this one. A big fight at heavyweight. A matchup that I think has implications on who fights for the title after Stipe. How do you have this fight going?
We mentioned the Holloway and Arnold Allen fight that maybe that's the number 1 contender fight, especially if Arnold Allen wins. in my opinion, this is a number one contender fight at heavyweight. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a top 5 matchup. Pavlovich is just soaring up the rankings, right? And if he can get a big win here against a guy like Curtis Blaydes, who, I mean, is so dominant. Curtis Blaydes' only losses were to guys with such crazy power that they had to put him to sleep. You know, Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou. It's tough to put Blaydes out of there, but if anybody has the power, it's Pavlovich.
Well, yeah, I think right now Pavlovich, not pound for pound, but just in general, he probably has most power in the UFC right now with Ngannou being out of there. So he has that knockout power. He's capable of doing that. But Blaydes is a good wrestler. He's capable of that, something that Pavlovich hasn't seen a lot of at heavyweight, obviously. So this is going to be an interesting matchup for him. And I think this is the last hurdle he needs to get over to get that title shot.
Yeah, and like you said, he hasn't really fought that top-level wrestler like a Curtis Blaydes, because really there aren't a lot of wrestlers at heavyweight. So, you know, to be the guy in this division, you got to beat the guy. And, I mean, obviously John Jones is the guy. But if there's anybody that I feel is on John Jones' level at heavyweight in terms of wrestling and all-around game, it's Curtis Blaydes. So if you can go out there and beat up Curtis Blaydes, you're ready for a title shot.
I agree. I'm with you there. My prediction for this one, as great as I think a Curtis Blaydes matchup against John Jones would be, I think that'd be a much more balanced fight, I guess, for that heavyweight title. I do think Pavlovich gets it done, and I think he keeps his streak going, another round 1 knockout. What do you have it as?
Wow. I mean, and I get that because Curtis Blaydes, like I did mention, has been knocked out before. You know, I'm not going to say he has a glass chin by any means, but if you have a lot of power, you can knock this guy out. Curtis Blaydes, though, man, he's so well-rounded for this division. And I've kind of been on the Curtis Blaydes hype train. I mean, I've been an advocate saying this is one of the only guys that I think can beat John Jones at heavyweight. I mean, there's always the puncher's chance, but Curtis Blaydes, so well-rounded. Doesn't really get a lot of finishes, you know. Are we going to see him lay on this guy for 5 rounds? I hope not, but I think there's a good chance it happens. And I know you like Sergei Pavlovich, but I think he's going to get wrestle-fucked, man, and I think he loses a decision to Curtis Blaydes.
Man, that'd be the worst possible outcome. I want to see some fireworks at least. I want to see I'd like to see another Pavlovich round 1 knockout. So he's got that power. I think he's capable of it. But he's going up against a great fighter in Blaydes.
And Curtis Blaydes has hands too. I mean, no shade. I mean, he's knocked out like, you know, Dawkins, whatever. But, you know, it's a heavyweight fight, right? So they're both big guys. Anybody can go to sleep. And Curtis Blaydes, you know, as much as I think he's going to wrestle, I hope he throws some hands too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we both have our own fights from this card that we're going to individually cover. I'll let you go first. And yeah, I'll let you take it away now.
Yeah, I'm going to cover a fight a little lower down the card because it's 2 pretty big names, right? I mean, I'm talking about Bobby Green and Jared Gordon. We all know the story of the Jared Gordon and Paddy Pimblett fight, right? Everybody's saying, well, he got robbed. He won all 3 rounds and they robbed him. But is he even a good fighter? I mean, I just want to talk about, like, is Jared Gordon even good? Because the guy can't finish anybody, right? He couldn't finish Paddy Pimblett, who God knows if Paddy Pimblett's any good, right? So, you know, as much as there was some hype around Jared Gordon's name, he has a tough fight against Bobby Green, a vet of the game, someone who has amazing boxing. Bobby Green has fought everybody. I wrote down some names here. He's fought Islam Makhachev, Rafael Fiziev, Edson Barboza, Dustin Poirier. I mean, this guy fought the tops of the lightweight division, albeit he's lost a lot of those fights. Actually, I think he might have lost all 4 of those fights. But he knows what it's like to be in a big fight. And Jared Gordon, who has a lot of hype around his name because of the Paddy Pimblett fight, in my opinion, isn't very good. And so I think Bobby Green goes out there and knocks him out in 1 round.
I can't blame you for that. I don't think Gordon's terribly good. And I think people have that misconception because he beat, I mean, technically he didn't, but he beat Paddy, right?
Right.
But Paddy's also, he's not a good fighter either. I mean, I don't see anybody in the top 15 in his division that he beats. So it's not like he went out there and, you know, beat a good Paddy Pimblett.
No, Paddy Pimblett looked horrible. I mean, he didn't utilize his jiu-jitsu, which is his strong suit. We know he doesn't have hands, and Jared Gordon couldn't go out there and finish that guy. I mean, how's he going to go out there and finish Bobby Green, who, by the way, is coming off a lot of, like, some losses too, and I still think he's going to go out there and beat him.
So for mine, I'm covering Song Yadong versus Ricky Simon, the co-main in this one. It's a top 10 clash at bantamweight. Yadong is coming off a loss to Corey Sandhagen, who looked great in his last fight. So I can't hold him for that. Yeah. Corey Sandhagen looked fantastic. And Simon is on a 5-fight win streak. So this is an interesting fight for both guys. And it's going to be a tough road to a title shot for either one of these guys after this because of how stacked bantamweight is. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but it's still an interesting fight. It's still a top 10 matchup. I'm hoping to see it finish, but I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's going to go 3 rounds to a decision. I think Simon wins a close fight, but I'm expecting it to be a good fight regardless. So yeah, that's my coverage of Yadong versus Simon.
That's a great fight, man. They both got hands, so that'll be
absolutely. And then the next main event in the next fight night, it got canceled. Bear with me here. Bear with me on the names here. Sarukian versus Moisano. I think it was close enough. Close enough, right? You get the point. You know who I'm talking about at least. That was canceled, so there's not much to talk about there, and it was already a pretty bad card to begin with.
Horrible card. Fuck you, Dana.
Yeah, Dana, you got to get it together, man. I know you gave us some great months the last couple months, but we're not letting you slack off now. So
and the fact that we're still doing fight nights in the Apex. I mean, it is 2023. COVID is done. Get us back on the road, please.
Hey, good to end the show with some Dana slander. Why not? Wouldn't hurt.
Come to Nashville, Dana, for fun.
Bring it here. We'll be there. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up our coverage of the next couple fight nights. We look forward to them. We look forward to some exciting fights. Hopefully some good finishes there. And hopefully the guys are all rooting for our winning. So, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.